For 2 years, Europe has been engulfed by the flames of war. Only the Soviet Union and Great Britain continue to hold out against the Germans and their Axis partners. The US government has decided to lend support in the form of armaments and other supplies only. This assistance is first offered to the UK and then also to the USSR. But intense isolationist opinions in America have prevented the United States from becoming more directly involved in Europe's war. On December 7, 1941, everything changes. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the US Navy's main base in the Pacific, officially brings America into the war. The world's sleeping giant has been awakened. Against the background of the British North African campaign and the defeat of the Germans' armies near Moscow, the balance of power threatens to shift significantly. The Soviets and British now have reason to hope for an eventual victory in the struggle. But victory is still a long way off. The Japanese attack on the United States forces an American retreat in the Philippines, extending the reach of the Empire of the Rising Sun. At the end of World War I, the Treaty of Versailles required Germany to surrender portions of its territory and placed significant constraints on the size and composition of its armed forces. Despite these measures, Germany is able to struggle to its feet, and by the early 1930s stands among the world's great powers again. The Nazis, who had seized power in 1933, continue a clandestine buildup of its armed forces. By 1939, after the Anschluss of Austria and the annexation of Czechoslovakia, Germany's territory and population are larger than prior to World War I. But the Nazis have no intention of stopping there. In September 1939, Germany invades Poland. In response, the United Kingdom and France declare war on Germany. But the Wehrmacht successfully demonstrates its new tactic of Blitzkrieg to the world. Polish resistance crumbles within weeks. Indecisiveness by the UK and France allows Germany to occupy Denmark and Norway. At Dunkirk, the British forces are nearly wiped out by a German assault. France is on the edge of defeat. All that remains is for Germany to force its way across the Marne River. The war in Europe continues to expand. It has already drawn close to the borders of the Soviet Union, but that nation's armed forces are still unprepared for a large-scale war. The Soviet Army and Navy are in the process of reorganizing and refitting. Thus, the Soviet leaders are undertaking every effort to postpone their involvement in the war with Germany. However, on June 22, 1941, without a declaration of war, German units violate the existing non-aggression pact and roll across the Soviet border. The aggressors are very strong and, using the element of surprise, win many victories in the border area. Soviet troops are compelled to retreat along the entire front. However, the Soviet soldiers' desperate resistance and the successful evacuation of the Soviet heavy industry to safety beyond the Urals disrupt the German High Command's plans. The Blitzkrieg bogs down, and the planned pace of advance by the German military slows. Key objectives become unachievable. The Germans continue on their way towards the capital, Moscow. The war, however, has become a bitter fight. For the first time since the onset of the war, Germany's defeat becomes a very real possibility.